recording. Okay. It's Jay. Just want to let everybody know that I'm working from the laptop today. So I'm going to try to share everything that we've gone over. And if anybody has any questions, just let me know. I will try to answer them, and we will try to get everything working so you guys can see everything. Sometimes, as you've seen, sometimes the Google documents just don't want to, work with us, but, we'll get through it. All right.
Mvhayv, you're doing a super job. Mado.
Mado. And I was talking to Amy a while ago. This is the last class for this module 1, unless you look at the evening Friday class for me. This is the last class. And there's going to be a 2-week planning period, and then there's going to be another 6 weeks module for me. Mvhayv Barnett still has her class. I think Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at noon. There's going to be Mvhayv Eli. She's going to start, I think, next week, from 1:30 to 3. And she's more of a linguist, more of a sentence structure. She knows that. And she speaks several languages. I know one of them being Korean, which was awesome. They've got a little different take than I do, and the first speakers. So, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to learn from her as well as I learned from Mvhayv Barnett and all the other speakers. But Mado, thank you for letting me know. And like I was telling Amy, if there's anything or any direction or any one part that we need to cover, just let the office know. And we will try to cover something on it. Yes, go ahead.
How is the information on the other teachers' classes just distributed?
I think on Facebook. I think I've seen it on the Mvskoke Creek Nation. They pull out bulletins for the PR. Let's see, you can always call the office and they can give you the links. I don't have them in front of me right now.
Okay.
And I think maybe Instagram, I'm not sure. But I know that, yes. All right. So like I said, if you have any questions, call in the office. They'll help you with the links and everything.
It's great. Right. Thank you.
All right.
Mado.
Also, how do we get back to your next module?
Right now we are working on that. We're trying to keep the same Zoom links so it'll be easier. So that's one of the things that I've got to talk to Jordan with to see if we can keep the same links, because that makes it easy for everybody. If we can keep the same links, but we got to work with Zoom and they've got different rules. So, we got to figure it out. But like I said, I know it's on Facebook. I know they put it on Creek Upanaga Facebook. I think they might have it on the Creek Nation Facebook. I think they have, but they do put it through PR. And like I said, you can always call the offices and ask for the links, and somebody should be able to pass that on to you. And like I said, we're trying to stay on the same links, but you never know. I don't know how many of you guys ran into the glitch this week or last week where you had to re-register. So that was awkward. That was different. Even the instructors had to re-register. So that was just a Zoom thing. So some of these things are not in our hands, but we're trying to work with it, work through it. All right. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Like I said, this is a little different setup than the office. So I'm trying to make sure that you guys can see everything. And this is a small laptop compared to what I'm used to. Let's see, here we go. So let me go ahead and go through this again. I know I went through this before. These are the Mvhayvs and all the people in the Mvskoke language program currently for 2023. So you see all the people there. You see all the Mvhayvs. Mvhayv Eli is the one in the back behind me. She's the one with the gray hat on. So she's going to be the one that's doing the more of the sentence structure. And I've seen her planning, and it's exciting. I'm excited because she's got a lot of color, and she knows the software to produce all this stuff. So it's got a lot of color and a lot of things that really help me learn. So I'm excited to start that with you guys. Like I said, I'm still on my language journey, and everybody I've spoken with in the language program is on a different part of their journey. So we're all on the journey. I've even talked to Mvhayv Barnett, and she said she's still learning as well. So, you know, nobody's just completely knows everything. And I know when I brought in the way I learned to the Mvhayvs, that was something new for them. All right. So we're just going to go through some things quickly so I can get to the end of everything, so I can include everything. We've already learned so much in these 6 weeks, but let me go ahead and refresh, because not only me, but other Mvhayvs, we've sat there and talked about this. Sometimes your mind just kind of switches back into English, and you have to go back and refresh your memory on something simple. It's simple, but it's the building blocks of what we're learning. So let me go through the Mvskoke sounds, and just mute your mic. You can say it after I do. But I've noticed even in these quick 6 weeks that my pronunciation has gotten better. So I'm sure if you guys are practicing and you guys do this, you guys are getting better as well. All right, let me go ahead and start. Ah, chi, I, e, fi, he, a, he, li, me, ni, oh, fi, thi, or flee, si, ti, we, ye. All right, some of the things that we've spoken with the Mvhayvs, we all sit down sometimes and ask questions. The for a, and the V. They have similar sounds, but when you think about it, and are two different sounds. But there's sometimes when you're reading Mvskoke, sometimes the end of the word has an a, sometimes it has the It just depends on whoever wrote it, like Inga, E-N-K-V or E-N-K-A. I've seen it both ways, which means acknowledgement, yes, sometimes thank you. You know, if somebody says Mado, you say Inga, thank you, acknowledging that they said something. So I've seen it both ways with at the end and Inga, Inga. So, you know, those are two variations that we've come across. And even in some of the Mvhayvs, we're sitting there and we're trying to think, okay, is this an A or a V? Well, like I said, be really aware of your pronunciations, your tones, as Mvhayv Barnett says, your Mvskoke sounds and tones. Even I know that when I'm teaching, sometimes I get caught up in you know, the English and I have to go back, just like the I, we're used to saying I, it's A. And you will hear the differences again today. So just keep in mind that these are some of the things that people have spoken about, you know, having issues with A or R, which is the or thlee. All right. And for my little hang up is always, with you, tuchin, you know, so, that always gets me. So I always have to go back and refer back to my alphabet. And that's not a problem. I mean, if you guys get stuck, just backtrack and then go forward. Just like if you get stuck in mud when you're driving, you got to sometimes backtrack to go forward, or even sometimes take a little different path. But, you know, as long as you get there and you understand, you know, the differences and the pronunciation differences. All right. So I know that we have gone through, and let me see. So we went from the alphabet. We went to the 2-letter syllables Mvskoke words, and I'm just going to do a couple of these because this is going to be relevant for the end of the class when I do some exercises so you guys can see these. All right. So when Mvhayv Barnett or some of the other Mvhayvs say use the Mvskoke sounds, it's the alphabet, Mvskoke alphabet, but they call it the sounds, the tones, and not really the alphabet. For those of us who learned English first, alphabet makes sense. So now you know the alphabet is our Mvskoke sounds or tones. So just like the second sentence, it's, you know, when she says use your tones, spell it out in your tones, your sounds. It'd be me, ah. The second one right here is me, eh. Or it could be me, e, me, A, me, oh, me, me, See, going slower, you can hear the differences. But I know even some of the speakers, they go fast and I'm like, wait, just kind of slow down. And even I know when I teach, I, just breeze over it, and the proper tone and the proper sound is not there. And I've caught myself as well. And I know people said, hey, you said it this way. And I was like, yeah, I was just excited. So let's go through one more. The or thlee, ah, the or thlee, the or thlee, e, the or thlee, a, the or thlee, o, the or thlee, the or thlee, All right. So when I say Mvskoke sounds, spell it out in Mvskoke sounds, or what do you hear? This is what we're talking about. Is the Mvskoke sounds, the alphabet. Okay. All right. So like I said, this is going to come into play later on. Right now, I'm just trying to breeze through everything so we can get a refresher of what we've covered this semester or module. I'm thinking of college. All right. Let's see. And then let's go, like I said, briefly, 2-letter syllables. Let me go with the 4th line here. Ka, ke, ki, ke, go, gu, ga. When you go slow, you can hear it. So now it's starting to come together and make more sense for us. And just remember, all of these are in our Mvskoke words. So you've already said this. You've already practiced this. We know this. It's just sometimes we have to go back and re-exercise our mouth and our brain. So this is out there for you guys to go back and practice with. Let's go to the 3-letter syllables. Let's go with right here. Mock, mick, meek, make, moke, mook, muck. And next one, let's go through the first one. Sock, seek, sick, seek, sake, soak, sook, suck. Again, I put the 2 E sounds there, the I and the E. That's why mine's just a little different. But I like to keep practicing with my mouth. So, this is out there for you to practice with as well. And so the 2-letter and the 3-letter syllables, if you look at all the Mvskoke words, they're just made of the sounds that we've already covered. All right. So now let's see if I can see the conjugation. Let's see if I can find the infinitives. Okay. I don't have the infinitives here, but these are our steps for conjugation. Okay. And so and the good thing is for this module 1, we are doing present tense, which the same rules apply to what we're doing in this module. The only thing that changes is the person marker, because are you talking about first person, second person, or third person? So let me briefly go over just the present tense steps. I'm not going to go over the whole thing because I've been doing that for several different of our classes. This is out there on the Google Drive for those of you who don't have it. I would say just, keep a copy, practice this, and practice is the way for you to learn. I was talking to Mvhayv Barnett after her class yesterday, and she asked me if it made sense. And I said, yes, it makes sense. And it's awesome because I'm learning something new. Yut. So this is really cool. And she asked me if there was anything else, that she could do, to help me learn and help you guys learn as well. And I said, well, I think right now I'm good, but I need to practice. I told her, so that's my homework for this weekend is to practice saying, this and that, mutt, yut, ma, all of these things that she taught. The learning a language is constant. You have to constantly try, just like with anything. For the football players who are professional, they constantly train and practice. For the singers who sing opera and sing in general, they constantly have to practice and exercise their vocal cords, exercise their brain on connection of whatever they're doing. So that's the same thing with language. And the good thing is right now you guys are able to be taught through Zoom, which years ago they didn't have all this opportunity and all this exciting technology. When when we were in the military, I was able to talk to my husband overseas when he was deployed, which before then we had to write letters. So just practice, practice, practice. We've got all this opportunity. I would say, get over here, get onto the Google Drive. I've put stuff out there. Other Mvhayvs have stuff out there. Facebook has the pronunciation on many things. All right. So let's go through the simple sentence present tense. We're conjugating in the present, what's happening now. Present tense steps, drop the ETV. Number 2, L-grade the verb stem. You lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A, unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave it a V. The rest of the final vowels get a long mark over it. Goodness. It says number 3, add the person marker. And that's the only thing that changes in this module is I, it's, or nothing. And this is my placeholder for nothing, because there's not a placeholder for the third person, which is he, she, it, or they. But that's, like I said, I've explained this before, that helps to keep me in track. But now that I've been teaching this, I'm starting to get where my brain is like, okay, this is the third person. And so I'm able to start shedding my training wheels just a little bit. So it's exciting to see the progression in everybody's language journey. And I can see the progression in mine as well. All right, number 4, add the declarative ending S or ES. All right, and for those of you who have been able to look at all of the previous lessons, here are the long notes for it. So I just went over the short notes today, so we could just refresh. And let's see if I can find. I know I put these in order before, so I'm not sure if they're going to stay in order. Okay. All right, let's go with this one. Are you guys able to see this? Are you able? Okay. I did hit share, but sometimes when we think we're sharing something, you guys aren't seeing what we're seeing. All right. So just if I'm sharing something, you guys don't see it, let me know. All right. Hombida, step by step. And these are going straight from our notes. And like I said, I put these notes here to help you. And it helped me when I was learning as well. Hombida, to eat. First step, drop the ETV and you get the verb stem. So this is HOMP is the verb stem. The O is the final vowel, so it gets a long mark over it. It's supposed to lengthen the vowel. So I think that from what Mvhayv Eli told me, you just hold it a little longer. Right? And I is add the person marker, because we're talking right now, we're talking first person. I am doing something. And let's see, the next step is add the declarative ending, declarative marker, meaning am, are, is, and it's also the period of the sentence. It's S or ES. If you've got a vowel here, you just add the S. If you don't, you add the ES. So you see right here, it's S period. Right here, you got the verb stem. You got your person marker in blue. And you got the declarative ending, which is the S and a period. So home base, I am eating. So you went from up here to eat to a complete sentence, home base, I am eating. All right. I also try to break it down a little bit easier so we can see it. And like I said, I try to use a lot of color, home base. So you know what each part of this is. And it's cool to think, because if somebody that, English person, they look at this, they're like, oh, it's a letter, or it's a word. And you can just smile and say, no, it's a sentence. It means something more than just, one word. So right here, there's the breakdown. Eating is the black part. I, the blue part. Am is the S and the period. Translation is Mvskoke home base. The literal translation is eating, I am. English translation is I am eating. All right. This is our reviews. Anybody have any questions on that so far? No? All right. Let's see, second person. Okay. All right, let's go to second person. All right, iskada, to drink. Drop the ETV, create the verb stem. You got the ESK. Like I said, the only thing that's going to change is the the person marker on these. Same rules. Here, E is the final vowel. You put the long mark over it. This is where we've got the change because we're talking about second person. It's. Add the person marker, it's. You see it in blue. You add the declarative ending, which is es, because it's not a vowel. That's the ending, it's a K. So you add the es. Right here, you've got your verb stem. You've got your person marker right here in blue. Right here is your declarative ending, am, are, is, period. So you went from to drink to I am drinking, iskeda, to isketskis. And that is a mouthful. I'm not gonna lie, it's a mouthful. If you want to break it down into syllables, you could go isk right here, isk right here, itsk, or es, itsk, and then is, izitskis. And that helps you to pronounce the new I'm sorry, just new sentence. Sorry, just got a blank there. All right, so like I said, I'm trying to break these down so it'll be easier for you guys. And here's another breakdown. Drinking is the black, you are. Okay, so the Mvskoke translation is iskitskis. The literal translation is drinking you are, which is right here at the top. Drinking you are. English translation is you are drinking. All right. Whew, that's a lot to go through already. Does anybody have any questions before we go any further? Let me see if I can get on to. Let's see. I know I was practicing with these today, so I could get to where I needed to go without completely going out. Person. All right, so we've gone through those. Let's go ahead and go to let's see if I can find the third person here. First person, second person sentences. First person, third person. All right, here we go. Hombida. So you've seen how hombida went from home base to hombitskis. Now it's the third person. Hombida, to go. You drop the ETV, you get the verb stem. O is the final vowel, it gets the long mark over it. This again, I told you is there's no third person marker. That's my placeholder to make me remember where I am in my steps. I'm starting to be able to take off a little bit of my my little cheat sheet and my training wheels. So I'm starting to understand in my own mind after all this time practicing that, you know, I don't need a person marker so much. I'm not going to say at all. I'm going to say so much. So you add your person marker. Like I said, there's no marker for the third person. And you add your declarative ending, am, are, is. S is the period, also the period of the sentence. So you get your verb stem. So this is what you're left with is your verb stem. This is the person placeholder that I can put. There's no person marker. And the green part is the declarative ending. So you see this right here has the person marker. And this does not. This is the final sentence right here. Like I said, this is just my personal placeholder. And you also see parentheses in some of my notes. That's why I go over this with you so you can remember these are just placeholders. So you went from hombida. Oh, sorry, it's not to go. I'm sorry. Hombida is to eat. I did retype it and correct it, but I guess this is not the one that's correct. It's hombida is to go, to eat, not to go. All right, so home base. That's the third person. So that can mean he is eating, she is eating, they are eating, it is eating. So that one little sentence right there, that one little, looks like a word, can mean more than one thing. It can mean he, she, it, they are eating. All right. So that, to me, that was exciting, but it's kind of daunting because you're like, dang, English has so many different ways to say, to say everything. But Muskogee, I found is more simple, and sometimes to me it's more common sense. Just more common sense, because it does, I think to me it does play on your intellect. You know that, you're going to do something, she's going to do something, he's going to do something. So, they are doing something. You just kind of infer some of these things in Muskogee. You infer, and it's situational, like Mvhayv Barnett said. Some things are situational. One of the things that I know that we've covered, and I've had questions with, were our colors. Lonnie, when we teach, is Pahalani, which is grass, and then it would be green. Lonnie, Pahi, Lonnie is green. And then I think I've seen Lonnie, yellow. And I've also seen Oaklani, which was brown. I've seen people teach that. But then I've also seen in some of our writings, Lonnie means each one of those. Just like Mvhayv Barnett said, it's situational. In the spring, you're talking about Ido. Lonnie, you're talking about a green tree. And, it's in the spring. You got a lot of rain. It's green. It's green. You could talk about the same tree in the wintertime. A lot of the leaves turn brown. So then that time, the Lonnie would be brown. And then, depending on where you're at in autumn, it could be yellow. So you just kind of look, oh, she's talking about yellow, or they're talking about yellow. So there's a lot of things that are situational and inferred in Muskogee. And there's a lot of, just like English, there's a lot of variations in English. Since we were military, we were stationed overseas in England for a little while. And the thing that really threw me was the way they spelt fair, like state fair. They spelled it Fayr, and we spell it Fair. So that threw me. I'm like, of course, I was, you get a little twisted, and I'm thinking, I thought they spelt it wrong. I kept telling my husband, they spelt it wrong. And, here we are in a new country. But then if you think about it, they probably had it right. But when, people came here, they wanted to change it, and they spelt it with an I. So, you still knew the word fair. It just looked a little off, just like the same word tire, Tyre. That's how they spelt tire. And I'm thinking Tire. And we had one of our children going to the English schools, and they were learning how to spell the English way, the British English way. And so they spell things different, like color, Coulor, I think. So they put more of the French. Same thing with Muskogee. I've seen, and I know people have said that they've seen different ways to spell things in our Muskogee language. You've got, I think Miss Ella said that there's the phonetics way of spelling it. There's more of a linguist way of spelling it, is the phonetics. You see the old school way of spelling things. And you even see people who were not native and have written books that were trying to spell Muskogee and trying to, to use our words, like the word Hokti, Hokte. I've seen it Hokti, and Chabon, I've seen Gebon instead of CH or CE. So there's different ways. All right. So let's go ahead and let's go to our sentences. All right. I did put these sentences, and these are our sentences that we had earlier. I did put the first speaker's voice on there, so hopefully everything comes through fine. Okay, here it is. First person sentences. All right, so let me go over these real fast. and you see, and the reason why I did this is because you can see the first person of sentences, the exact same words, then this, from the first person, and then the second person and the third person. And when you get a chance, print all of these out and just look at them side by side, and you can see the differences. It's just a few sounds, a few letters, if you look at it. And the third person is absent of the person marker because it is third person. Okay. So first person sentence. Sakanipki hayes. I am making pork and hominy. Okay, we got to remember though, like I said, I'm still learning, so I'm going to sound a little choppy. But that's why I do this, is because I know that many of you guys are in the same boat that I am, that we're trying to get there. And that's why I put the speakers on there, so that you can hear how we're trying to emulate these sounds and these tones that Mvhayv Barnett talks about. All right, Kibala Nises. Justagi Nises. Oh, I am buying strawberries. Justagi Nises. I am buying eggs. Sadathako Nises. I am buying apples. Migoja Nises. I am buying bacon. Pagana Nises. I am buying peaches. Aloso humbes. I am eating rice. Soka huffy humbes. I am eating ham. Aji humbes. I am eating corn. Bathko humbes. I am eating grapes. Justagi humbes. I am eating watermelon. Yalaha. Yeah. For some reason, I got transposed here. Yalaha humbes. I am eating orange. Sadafgoma humbes. I am eating pear. All right. So now you heard how I said it. Let's go ahead and hear how one of the speakers say it. All right, somebody said in the chat that they're unable to hear it. Did anybody hear that? No? All right, I have no idea why it's not working. We had this issue with the big one screen yesterday, and I was working with the one screen, and I did find something. Let me see if I can. Let me try this again. Share screen. Share first person. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's share sound. That's where it's at. Let's try this again. Let me know if you can't hear this, okay?
Sakonipki hayes. Kibala nizes. Justagi nizes. Sadatako nizes. Mikoja nizes. Pagana nizes. Alozo hombes. Sukha hafi hombes. Aji hombes. Bathko hombes. Justly hombes. Yalaha hombes. Sadofgoma hombes.
All right, you guys able to hear the differences? Like I said, I'm still learning, so I don't have that fluidity that a lot of our speakers have. And I don't have that rhythm yet, but I'm getting there. All right, that sounds better. All right, good. All right, like I said, I've been working with this, trying to get this easy for us to get through during our presentations, because sometimes these things just don't want to work right. And like I said, that's when we sing our songs, I never had to hit share sound. It would just appear and we would sing, and you guys heard it. And then just last week, and then this week, we started having problems with our you guys hearing the presentations or the songs. So I don't know what happened. Maybe there's an upgrade somewhere. Those of you who work with computers know that, you know, sometimes there's no reason, rhyme, or anything. That's just how it is. So, like I said, let's go through. And these are our second person sentences. And like I said, it's easier for you to print them out and print all of these out. You print the steps out for home base, home beta. And then you see from first person, the second person, the third person. These are our second person sentences. So let's go ahead and I'll go through it. Like I said, I'm still learning. So sometimes I have to backtrack, but that's okay. As long as we're going forward, as long as you don't stop. That's all I'm concerned about. You can't stop learning. Our language is so important. I think any indigenous language and a lot of indigenous, all the indigenous knowledge is important. All right. Sakanipki Hayitskis. Hayitskis. You are making pork and hominy. Kibala Nizitskis. You are buying strawberries. Justagi Nizitskis. You are buying eggs. Sadathako Nizitskis. You are buying apples. Migoja Nizitskis. You are buying bacon. Pagana Nizitskis. You are buying peaches. Aloso Hombitskis. You are eating rice. Sokahafi Hombitskis. You are eating ham. Aji Hombitskis. You are eating corn. Pathko Hombitskis. You are eating grapes. Justly Hombitskis. You are eating watermelon. Yalaha Hombitskis. You are eating orange. Sadathgoma in Hombitskis. You are eating pear. All right. And let me go ahead and play the slideshow. Let me know for some reason if it doesn't come through, then I'll stop and we'll try to figure it out.
Sakonipki Hayitskis. Kibala Nizitskis. Jostagi Nizitskis. Sadathako Nizitskis. Mikoja Nizitskis. Pagana Nizitskis. Aloso Hombitskis. Sokhahavi Hombitskis. Aji Hombitskis. Pathko Hombitskis. Justly Hombitskis. Yalaha Hombitskis. Sadafgoma Hombitskis.
All right. You see how there's a difference? She's got that rhythm. When I make these presentations, I like the speakers only to say the Mvskoke words so you can hear the Mvskoke words in your head. So when you're trying to pronounce these, you can hear the tones and the differences when they speak. I told them, I was like, you know, we know English, so we can read the rest. You know, we can read the English part, but I like you guys to hear our speakers in our native tongue. So that's why I put it like that. I know other people are different, but that's what helps me to learn and helps me to remember some of the ways to speak it is I can hear the speaker speaking it, and then I try to emulate how they sound. All right. Let's see if I can find 3. The problem with the third one is that let's see if I can find it here, is the recording is a little bit, it's not the entire list that's recorded for the speaker. Something happened to the recording, but it's got half of it. So you can hear, and it's Mvhayv Philip. And I always like to try to include the male speakers because they've got a different tone. And I don't know, to me, it sounds like, you know, when they're speaking, they've got they've got the lower voice and it's almost like a song. You know, you hear their voice. It's just so beautiful for me to hear our language spoken in the deeper voice. It's almost like all I can liken it to is like a spiritual sound. When you hear a male speaker, it's just got that rhythm and that spirit. The women do as well, but there's so many women ranges that it's a different sound. It's no less, magical or exciting. It's just different, but the men seem to have that deeper sound, and it just hits your ears and your body in a different way, because it's like I've told some people before, like I've told you guys before, is when I speak or when I hear the Mvskoke language, it can affect you at the cellular level. So your body just gets so excited and vibrates of, wow, that is just awesome. And you hear like when Stephen came and sang, the whole room, we were singing and he was singing, just filled with energy, and you just like, oh my gosh, and your cells were just excited. And that whole day I was just excited, because just that small moment in time, hearing the voice at that level, and it just touched me, so that's what I think about a lot of our speakers, is you've got to get that rhythm, you've got to get that energy, you've got to get that life force of the language. And that's what I'm striving for. And that's what I think, a lot of us are striving for. Some of us can say these words, but it's like, it's not quite there. It's like eating a soup or something that's not quite the perfect spice. You just got to add a little this and add a little that, and then you just let it simmer. So that's what we're doing right now, is we're simmering with the Mvskoke language. So maybe next time I'll call it Simmering with Mvskoke, because we're trying to get that perfect blend of tones and of speaking and rhythm. So maybe that's an idea. Simmering with Mvskoke, simmering in the language. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead in third person. Subkanitki Hayes. That's the S sound. Hayes. She is making pork and hominy. Kibala Nises. He is buying strawberries. And that's one of the things. Let me stop there. That's one of the things that we get questions all the time about. How do you know the E sound? Is it a long E? Usually the long E's have the long mark over it, but not always. There's some people who just almost just don't use any kind of marks, but some of them, if you look and read some of the books, they have the long mark over it, and that means the long E sound. But something like this, you just kind of know. So it would have the I sound or that long E sound. And I liken it to the word either. You hear people say either or either. Whichever way you hear it, you know what they're saying. Like the people in, I've learned it neither or either. I've learned it either. But I've gone to different places where I hear them say either, so that's the same situation, so sometimes you'll hear speakers, even speakers don't always, just regional, they don't always say it the same way, but you know what they're talking about. So, and that's my thing. As long as we're communicating, I'm good. There's sometimes when I've talked to somebody and they said something different, and I just had to stop and think, I'm like, what are they trying to say? We were in Alabama at a Native event, and somebody came up to me and said, I only know a few words in Mvskoke. And I said, oh, okay. And he goes, Jugaji. I'm like, Jugaji. And I kept thinking, Jugaji. And I looked at my kids, I'm like, Jugaji. Oh, Chogaji. It means like the little bathroom, from what I understand is Jugaji is the little outhouse. So, I need to go Jugaji. He said Jogaji. And then we're like, that sounds familiar. And we're like, oh, Chogaji. So from when when somebody says they need to go Chogaji, it's usually go to the restroom, because I was told it was the little outhouse that, anyway, that's off topic, but those are differences. I wanted to share with you the differences because there are so many differences, and I'm not going to sit there and point to somebody and say you're wrong. I'm just going to sit there and try to figure out what you're saying, and then we can still, talk. All right. Kibala Nises. He is buying strawberries. Justagi Nises. They are buying eggs. Sadathako Nises. She is buying apples. Mikoja Nises. They are buying bacon. Pagana Nises. He is buying peaches. Oloso Humbes. They're eating rice. For some reason, I was wanting to say wild rice. I guess I got wild onions I'm thinking about wild onions and tofumboji, because they're growing around here right now. And a lot of these churches have the wild onion dinners and tofumboji. So I was like, oh, I was eating wild rice. Sometimes I'm, just, okay, get back on track. Sometimes I just kind of go this way and that way when I'm thinking about things. Soka Huffy Humbes. She is eating ham. Aji Humbes. He is eating corn. Buthko Humbes. They're eating grapes. Justagi Humbes. They're eating watermelon. Yalaha Humbes. He is eating orange. Sadafgoma Humbes. She is eating pear. So any of these, all of these sentences, you can interchange she, he, it, or they. So whenever you see it like this, that's third person. All right. Let's go ahead and listen to the speaker speak. And like I said, we've gone over with the speakers, we've gone over the differences in and 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 e. So we've gone over some of these, but like I said, there's different dialects, regional dialects. So, the way I've learned it was in a formal setting. The way they've learned it is practical use, everyday use with their families. So, like I said, I know mine sounds a little stiff, rigid, and, just kind of choppy, but I'm starting to move in the direction of a speaker. So, like I said, he's only got, I think, half of it because my recording messed up. So Sakunipki Hayes, she is making pork and hominy. Kibala Nises, he is buying strawberries. Justagi Nises, they are buying eggs. Sadathako Nises, she is buying apples. Mikoja Nises, they are buying bacon. Pagana Nises, he is buying peaches. And this, I think, is where it picks up. So listen to his tone and his voice.
Aloso Hombes, Soka Happy Hombes, Aji Hombes, Bathko Hombes, Justali Hombes, Yalaha Hombes, Sadalkoma Hombes.
All right. Does anybody have any questions so far? Is everything making sense? Like I said, we've gone from our sounds or tones, which is the alphabet, to 2-letter syllable sounds, 3-letter syllable sounds. We were able to put those together like jadi, ja, and then ti, jadi. And like I said, you can hear it, jadi. I say jadi, but when, if you sit there and think about it, it's jadi, jadi. We've got to practice these things. So you've got the 2-letter and a 2-letter together to form jadi. So these little words that we're forming, are starting to make bigger words. And so that's what's exciting is we've gone from no words, or a lot of us are gone from no words to now we're working with words. Now we're conjugating these sentences. So it's going in first person, second person, and third person. So we've learned a lot in 6 weeks. And for those of us who knew a little bit, it was a great refresher on the sounds. And like I said, you just heard me say jadi, but if you sit there and think about it, jadi, jadi. Yeah, so, you've got to slow it down. And that's one of the things that I know the speakers always tell me is you've got to slow it down because I start rushing. So you start rushing words, you start rushing the sounds and to feel the full body of these syllables and of these tones, you've got to slow down and I was going to say, enjoy every second of the word, almost like eating. If you notice, I like to talk about food a lot. So it's like eating. It's like savoring that moment of jadi. And then what excites me even further is when I fully learn, when I can have a conversation with somebody, even a simple conversation like Desiray, my name is Desiray, and somebody can answer me, and I can ask them a question and they can answer me back. That is the moment where I'm like, woo, mache. But we're trying to get to those moments, and it's going to take a lot of work on both of our parts, step by step by step. And this is one part that you have in your toolbox to learn and to go further. So you can look at a sentence and know, oh, this is the third person, or oh, this is the second person, or oh, this is first person. So now you've got that in your toolbox. So I challenge you to keep practicing and keep trying. All of these things are in the Google Drive, so you can refer back to them as often as you need. And until they take it off, it's going to be there. I consider this a gift that I've learned that I'm passing to you guys. So now the Mvskoke Creek Nation has it on the drive, so you guys can access this. And like I've told you guys before, there's a website, it's in the process, where we're trying to put all of this stuff in one area. So you guys can sit there and like, wow, I want to see something from Facebook. Let me go over here. And it's gonna have a link to Facebook. Those of you who have Facebook, Instagrams, there's gonna be a link, or there should be a link. We're still working on it. We also have a lot of the lessons that are going to be out there. So I'm excited about where we've come from. You know, when I was young, there was nothing. Now we have computers. Now we're able to, converse with people. I know, Amy, you live in California. I think it was California, Oregon, Arizona,
Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Near
Somebody else-
Disney.
Oh, wow. Well, that's awesome. So I can talk to you while I'm talking to somebody in California and Oregon. We can all learn at the same time. So this is all exciting, but like I said, if you guys have any questions, just reach out. We'll try to answer your questions. If we can't answer it, we'll find the answer and we'll get back to you. Amy, I still have that screenshot of your question. I haven't gotten with Mvhayv Barnett about that. But I think that was right. That was correct, because I didn't forget. That's one thing that we always learned. If we didn't have the answer, we were always told we need to tell the person, we'll find the answer and we'll get back with you. And this is years of customer service. I guess that's my customer service showing. But right now, like I said, that's what I've got for you. All I can say is not to quit. Even though sometimes you feel like you're like, dang, I'm not learning anything, or this isn't making sense, keep going, because the only time that you're not going to learn is if you stop. And one of the things that I'm going to do right now, since we have a few minutes here, is I am going to say some of our Mvskoke sounds, and you guys, type it in chat, or you can unmute yourself to what I'm spelling. All right. And these are just the sounds. And when I was going to college, we had to do this, and it was hard because you had to sit there and think, not in English, you had to think in Mvskoke. So let me go ahead and do one example. Let me go ahead and, all right, let me spell something out. First person who gets the word, you can either type it out in chat, or you can unmute yourself and tell me what the word is. All right, I know this person, and the name is A-F-L-E-A-C. Has anybody got that word? Type it in chat, unmute yourself, let me know.
Iris.
Yes, all right. So good job, Mache. Woo! I'll give you a little wave. Woo! Good job. And this is some of the things that I do for myself because I'm trying to still learn. Like I suggested before is, come to a stop sign, just spell C-D-O-P and just play with words. Get your mind switching. And the cool thing is once you get to a certain point, and we were talking about this, is you can switch back and forth easily because it's practice. We were talking about our ancestors who lived in the homelands. A lot of them had spoken Spanish, the Mvskoke words, they spoke English, and they spoke French because these people were coming into their territory. So they were multilingual already. And from a lot of the readings I've read is these people, our ancestors can switch, be hybrid. You couldn't tell any kind of accent. So that was awesome, knowing that our people have already done this. We just need to take it a step further, and we need to learn this. All right, let me think of another one. Okay. Let's see. B, E, D, I. That one's kind of a little tricky. B, E, D, I. Put on your thinking caps. All right, somebody's got an answer. Pete, yes. The reason that, awesome, Mache. The reason that was hard because I used both of the E sounds. I used the the E and the I sound. That one was kind of a stumper. Awesome, you guys are doing awesome. Like I said, just practice this, just try it. And you notice that your brain will remember what you were doing and it'll start doing it on its own. I told the other class, I think it was Monday, is I'm starting to think more in Mvskoke because I'm doing it, I'm trying to keep this in my mind. I'm thinking about how this would sound in Mvskoke. How would I say this in Mvskoke? When I was learning a foreign language, I used to in college and high school learn French. I started dreaming in French. So I'm just waiting for that dream state to come. And I'm like, come on, I can dream in Mvskoke. But like I said, just try these little things. I know for me, there's going to be a 2 week 2 weeks where I'm not teaching because I'm planning for the next six weeks module. There's going to be Mvhayv Barnett. She is still teaching, I think, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, noon to 1. Mvhayv Eli, I think hers is starting on next week from 1:30. I think she said till 3. I'm not sure what days, but like I said, look for this. If you call up to the office, they can give you more information on it. But she's got the sentence structure. She's coming from a more of a linguist approach at it. She knows more than one language. So it's exciting to hear her her take on our Mvskoke language. She is also a Mvskoke citizen, so she's awesome. She's really creative. So, you know, just listen to all of us, get what you can from all of us, because, you know, we're all here to help you guys and we're all here to further our language. All right, if nobody has any questions, you guys did awesome. Tava, you did awesome, you know, hearing those sounds. I know that's a different skill set is audio. You have to hear it. And for me, when we had to take a test on this was hard. I had to sit there and I had to slow it down and listen and listen. But all right, does anybody have anything to say before we leave for the day?
I said it earlier, but you did an amazing job. Thank you so much. And for all the time, energy, effort, it really means a great deal. And you did just such a great job. Like I said, to you before class started, a great complimentary aspect to what was already going on. It was just really fantastic.
Right. So. Mado, I'm just going to suggest this, and this is just something that you might think about is, let me see, I can get this, hold on. Let me get this really fast here. Is that if you guys have, you know, compliments to say, email the manager at the Mvskoke language program, because we hear these things from you guys, which is awesome, but sometimes they need to hear it. So some of these programs can continue. You know, everything has to do with funds and stuff. And we just want to be able to present this to you, be here for you, learn with you. If you could just send an email to say, you know, this is helping me, and I would just go a step further and maybe, you know, email the chief. Hey, this is awesome. You're doing awesome. And this is just, I'm not a Creek citizen. So, you know, I don't have any stake in this other than that I'm excited to teach you guys. The suggestions, I'm not telling you, you have to do it. I'm just saying, these are some things that I've seen in the past from other places that were really helpful. All right.
How does one do both of those things? How do you get that information?
Let's see, you go on the Mvskoke Creek website, and they should have, like, if you want to email the chief or email the Mvskoke language department, there should have their contact emails out there.
Great.
Mado, Tava. All right, you guys have a good day. And let me say Hadam Chicha, please. You know, look into everybody else's classes, learn, and just keep on your learning track, because, you know, you're not a failure because these are words that our ancestors were forbidden to speak. And